MX Network production.
EVS Sports brings you a cheeky Brit and an American YouTube racing sensation weekly on the LVK More Than Moto podcast. Here's your hosts, Phillips and Kellen Brauer.
Welcome back, everybody, to the EVS Sports LVK More Than Moto podcast here on the Steve Mathis Podcast Network. I am Kellen Brauer from MotoOnline.com. Phillips from Vital MX joining me as he always does. Ready to talk about some things from Salt Lake City and the championships that are now done. Some fun contract things we'll go over today. It's a good show today because we're gonna break away from the norm as we try to do, and not just rehash one race. Right? We're overarching topics.
Yeah, I like randomness. I'm so bored. Like, you put forward the topic of Hunter versus Jason, and I pretty much punched you in the face.
Yeah. Well, you came at me aggressive, like
I just don't care anymore. It's Wednesday.
You know what's going to happen, though, is the fact that you brought this up at the beginning of the show.
We wanted to hear you talk about that.
Yeah, can you please...
Why are you talking about the weather? We wanted you to talk about Jason Anderson. Well, there's other podcasts available. I'll sum up my feelings, because I did this on the Vital MX post-race show. Ryder went down, Ryder retaliated. It's all right.
Okay, can I just quickly ask you, though, do you think anything happens outdoors between them?
No, it's fine.
Okay, we're done.
Also, Hunter will be like 30 seconds ahead of Jason.
Oh, really? Okay, Jason Anderson, not good outdoors.
Team Hunter all of a sudden.
Race winner 2 years ago, Team Hunter all day long, though.
Yeah, I stand by that. Hunter will... Okay, mark this time in the tape. Hunter will beat Anderson in 16 of the 22 motos.
16 out of 22. Okay. I mean...
I was going to say 18.
That's actually, like, not really ridiculous to say, because there's a good chance that they could just go half and half. So 5 extra motos that he beats him wouldn't...
Okay, 18 out of 22. No, that sounds too high. I don't like the 4 race wiggle room isn't enough. We need 6. Now.
I like how that we come up with topics. We start the show and then we just talk about completely different stuff.
The topic that we vetoed.
Yeah, the vetoed topic at this point. Anyway, so season's done, though. You did all 17 rounds. Let's start there really quickly, because you're not burnt out. You're still happy as can be. You wish you could do more Supercross
happy
races.
As can be might be a stretch.
Okay, you're not burnt out.
No. To be honest, I was looking at flights to the GP this weekend.
Really?
But it's going to be like an all-time mudder.
How many of those are we going to get this year? Is it like just the year of the mudder?
Seems it. But based on the weather forecast, this weekend's GP will make Agada look blue groove and hardpack.
Yeah.
So
we're not going to really talk about GPs too much today. Like current GP.
No, we're going to talk about GPs in 2008.
Yeah. But that Galicia track, the Lugo track in Spain, that to me, that should be on the schedule all the time. Yeah.
You should listen to the MXGP podcast show, where myself and Adam Wheeler debated whether they go back there, because it is called Circuito del Mundo Jorge Prado. And Jorge Prado will not be there next year. So do they go? It's weird to go to a track where that's named after Prado when he isn't there.
Yeah.
So I don't. Maybe it's one and done.
Yeah, maybe. But it should be a track. Yes.
Yeah, sure.
It's a good track. It's better than the parking lot GPs.
I mean, the other Spanish GP has 5 guys within walking distance, so you have to weigh up.
That's a future topic. Well, not this week, but next week we'll get into a little bit.
Really? I've never seen that.
We just vetoed it off the schedule. The topic about what you want to see next year.
No, it was what I look forward to. Yeah, not 5 guys.
That had nothing to do with the race, though, is what he was asking.
Oh, okay.
And we'll talk about it next week.
Maybe that was a good.
So
topic.
You just brought up 5 guys because you like that it's right next door to into Xanadu Arroyo Molinos.
There's an aquarium next door.
Do you stop by there frequently?
There's a cinema. I didn't watch a single lap.
Oh, man. All right, let's get into our topics, though. Before we do, big shout out to EVS Sports. Experience the pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. Also, thanks to Namura, the leading provider of engine components for motocross, ATV, UTV, and personal watercraft for over 2 decades. Namura has been the preferred choice for premium and dependable engine components for more than 20 years. Whether you're restoring your vintage bike, rebuilding your four-wheeler, or upgrading your new 450 race motor, Namura has you covered. Our extensive line of cast and forged pistons, connecting rods, gasket kits, engine valves, and soon cylinder kits that enhance your engine's performance. Keep an eye out for our new and innovative products in 2024 and beyond. Stay up to date by following us on Instagram at Namura_technologies. And also a big thanks to Racetech. For 40 years, Racetech has been supplying the motorcycle industry with high-quality suspension components made right here in the USA. From modern to vintage, Racetech is your go-to source for suspension performance. Big shout out to everybody that supports this show and makes it possible for me to have Lewis drive the 12 minutes to my house every single week.
Not being reimbursed for that.
Nope. Not being reimbursed at all.
No, but eventually we will be paid the same amount, which is not indicative of the fuel that I pay to get here.
Okay, would you like to then take over all operations of setting up the show, uploading it, thumbnailing it, titling it,
No.
sending Steve all the audio?
No.
Okay, so it evens out.
I'm the star.
Okay.
I just come, I sit, I leave.
Yeah, great. All right, first topic of the
Which
day.
was satire.
Yeah, we're fine. We're friends. We're not trying to
we're
outdo
back.
each other.
Yeah, no, we kind of got away from those comments.
We did, and then people sometimes think we hate each other. We don't.
I haven't heard that in a while, though.
2 weeks, maybe.
Really? I think Steve low-key believes that we hate each other.
Nah, I don't think so.
When we get to Am I a Dick, I've just thought of one.
So we'll add like a mini on
Yeah.
Am I a Dick? Okay. Let's get into our first topic of the day, though. And a reminder, there's 7 minutes on the clock here. We sometimes go over. We've doubled topics of late, too. So
I think that we shouldn't be afraid to go under also.
Okay. If we're done topic,
Yeah.
we just move on. Okay. That's fair enough. All right. First topic of the day. And this one was an ambiguous one that we kind of just thought up right at the end, coming up with ideas. And it's really just as the season has gone on, we've tried to follow these storylines and develop riders and see what's happening and all this stuff like that. But if you go back to preseason, we have obviously preconceived notions of what riders are going to do what before the season starts. So, Lewis, over to you to start. Which rider this season has your perspective on them changed the most based on this season alone, either good or bad?
Oh, I didn't actually consider bad.
Oh, really? Okay.
And this
It's just a good thing then?
automatic get in trouble. Anyone I name, automatic, because you know who I want to name.
I don't actually, but go.
No, I don't.
Then say good.
Okay,
Who's
good. I'll toe the line. Jet Lawrence.
Yeah.
Nah, that's boring. But I guess you could say that you think slightly more higher of him.
Yeah, because I guess coming into the season, people were like, is he going to be that good indoors?
Yeah, like he's now an A+++
Yeah.
versus an A+++.
Uh-huh.
Outside of him, is it weird that I immediately went to McElrath?
As in, like,
I now
outkicked
believe
his coverage?
I now believe that there is scope for him to progress and kind of rebuild his career.
Okay.
Whereas heading into this year, I kind of felt like he was done, air quotes. Your turn?
Yeah, that's, I think for me, and we'll get into him, maybe my biggest, like, surprise on a 450 has been Jacob. Not that I didn't think he could finish 6th in the championship, but I thought Hunter would be better than him. And you could argue that Hunter has been of late, but Jacob's consistency has definitely shown through. So,
But if I told you before Anaheim 1, Jacob races every round and gets 1 podium, that's...
yeah, it doesn't sound great.
No, but that's below what you would expect. We all thought that he would get a podium, right?
I guess, but I think that preseason coming in, you probably think, oh yeah, people will get hurt. He'll probably stick around. He'll get a few podiums at the end, right? Like that would be your thought is like...
No, I think I believe this comes down to I have a higher opinion of Jacob than you do.
Oh, okay. I just thought like he qualified fastest 3 times this year.
Honestly, don't know.
Okay.
Top of the board enough.
Yeah. And I just, to me, I'm like, I went from thinking, okay, he'll be a good 450 guy to, man, he's kind of laid a pretty good framework of maybe actually being pretty elite by the time 2 years down the road comes and all these other guys are gone. So.
I don't know. I think that it was a fine season.
Yeah.
I'm certainly not surprised with how well he did because I think quite highly of him. But
Yeah.
we should probably move on from him because he's the next
Yeah,
topic.
he is the next topic. But with McElrath, the reason why I would probably not agree with you on that is because if you look at Shane McElrath and you say, yeah, like he had a good, couple rounds. He got 4th at San Francisco, right?
Yep.
Mud race though. I just, with Shane, I'm just like, he was battling Chase Sexton for a title. Like, he should be a top 10 guy. Like, you could say J. Coop versus Shane should be closer, right?
Someone said to me yesterday that it's shocking that Christian Craig, 2 years removed from the 250 class, would now have to clamour for a deal, whereas 2 years ago, everyone would have wanted him.
Yeah.
And I said, that's exactly Shane McElrath. When he left the 250 class, to your point, everyone would have wanted. Well, okay, he struggled for a deal, but he was he was a top 250 rider, I guess is the comparison. Yeah. And certainly attractive.
Yeah.
Maybe that's now a terrible comparison. I think there is some. I think I didn't articulate it correctly, but there is some leverage there. I think this more down to McElrath starting well, running up front for a couple of laps. More of that. Last year he was definitely mentally not in a good place, confidence-wise. That was, I don't even know the man, but that was obvious.
Yeah,
I felt. Whereas this year I felt there was a bit more of like a purpose. So that's why I would go with him. But there's got to be others. On the bad side, I would presume coming into 2025 there will be a lot less Mookie hype, right? Yeah. Like if we get Mookie is flying at the test track and we have to discuss will Mookie win a race, I will clap back immediately if he didn't get a top 5 in 17 rounds.
On an overarching bad topic to that, I think that as much as we talk about this core and when they're going to retire, I think to me kind of the bad, like they did worse than I would have thought, goes to all of those guys that we continuously bring up. Tomac, Anderson, Barcia, Mookie. I think we expected higher kind of all of them this year.
Well,
right?
I guess this leads to this point. Based on what happened this year, heading into 2025 Supercross, will you consider Eli as the same level of title threat? Or will 2024 ring in your mind and you will say, he has a shot? More of a vague.
I think it completely depends on how the last few nationals he does in SMX goes, for my opinion on him, because I don't feel like we ever got real clear answers on Eli this year because
when have we ever?
But he was just like good and then bad, and then we find out it was injury related, but then great again, and then up and down, and then out. So like there was no consistency where you're just like, all right, Tomac's back,
So if he across the playoffs, say he goes 4-4-2, what does that do for you?
To me, I would think, okay, I think he could challenge for the 25 title.
But I would say that 4-4-2 isn't that different to what he did in Supercross.
Yeah, but if he goes 4-4-2 and it's Jet, Chase, Webb, Rocks, whatever, like they're all in there, everyone's healthy, and he goes 4-4-2 in that group, I go, okay, yeah, he'll get back there.
Okay, fair. I feel not fair. I feel like that's discrediting his Supercross season somewhat.
Well, I'm not saying it was a bad season at all. I think that's what people are going to misconstrue me saying Tomac's in this group.
Yeah, you're either...
I just think that obviously he came back from injury, so it was a slow build, and he built up to a pretty good level at a certain point. But I just think that you're starting to realize that the crest over the hill for all these guys is there, and they're like, oh, we're going down the hill, but we're there. We're going to go down. Well, we're there. Like they're, no one's at the peak anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking I would view Tomac a little bit differently at the end of the season than I did coming in, because I thought, yeah, he was injured, but Eli Tomac at the very end before he got injured last year was maybe the best he's ever been. So he should be getting back to that level at some point, and we only really saw it at St. Louis.
Fair. I mean, I wouldn't say that it is a foregone conclusion that he has to be getting back to that level at some point. There's always an end, and there's always a beginning.
That's my point. Like, I think my perspective on it is, all right, here comes the end. Not with just Tomac, but with that group. We're in our 30s with a lot of these guys.
Someone needs to pull it out of a nosedive a little bit.
A little bit, yeah. And obviously, like you said, Malcolm Barsha's turned it around of late. So that's, I think Plane was crashing and that's come up a little bit as well. But, both of those
plane actually crashed.
Okay. Well, but I think both of those guys you would just presume coming into the season should battle for wins, sometimes be close. Heat race wins would be more common. Like, just it didn't ever happen. So I'm sure that's me hating. I just think that that's my perspective changed on them a little bit.
Fair.
All right. So goods and bad, both sides of the coin.
Yeah.
And we're not going to get canceled because of it.
No.
All right. Good. All right. Next topic for us here today. And I forgot I moved into the second half of the show, so we'll jump into this next one after that. But we just talked about Justin Cooper and his prospects and all that because he had a good season. He finished 6th in points. He's the highest non-champion, non-450 Supercross champion on that finishing order. Everybody that finished ahead of him has a 450 Supercross title now. So we think Justin Cooper is going to be an decently appetizable free agent, right? Because he doesn't have a Star contract at the end of the year. He wants to stay at Star, ideally. Might not be an option, depending on what happens with Eli Tomac and Cooper Webb. So if you're in his shoes, what are you thinking right now?
Well, he was actually quite good after the race. To summarize, he said he doesn't know what's going to happen with him and Star. It kind of depends on what Eli wants to do, as we already knew. He said he's talking to lots of teams, which Husky, I don't know who the others are. I have
Ducati?
no idea. No, that's 26.
Okay.
I have no idea who the others are, but I would presume one is Husky. And he said it's kind of awkward to be at Star because he is in the third rider position. And then I followed up with a question that basically said, at some point you have to put yourself first. And although it's great to be at Star, blah, 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 you have to kind of take the plunge. And he basically agreed. So fairly honest, no new information, I guess, just confirming what we already knew. And if I'm him, I mean, Tomac's racing 2025 Supercross. That's all but released, I
We're
believe.
99%
Yeah.
there, yeah.
So if I'm him, unless Star really make it clear that they are willing to bend over backwards to keep me, like they really want me, I take the Husky deal.
Well, the one thing that I'll ask you about the Husky deal is...
Well, we don't know if there is a Husky deal, but presuming there is.
I think that that's one of the ones on the table. You could come up with a number of other names, but obviously the revolving door at Husky is starting to spin again a little bit because Craig's been hurt all year this year. We assume he's probably out. Malcolm is in the middle of a 2-year deal, so he'll be back. But I think they're like, we got to think ahead a little bit. And J. Coop, as I mentioned, could be a guy that becomes more elite in the future.
Yep.
The only thing I'll ask about J. Coop and Husky specifically, though, is he watched Christian Craig walk out of the Star Camp after having a really damn good 450 outdoor season on that bike and go to Husky. Look what's kind of happened. So do you think at all he has reservations about it because he watched literally the guy that he was winning titles-ish with do the same thing right in front of him?
My immediate thought, if I try to look at it objectively, is you said outdoor season. We haven't seen what Craig is like really outdoors on a Husky, all being well.
Yeah.
So there is some room for imagination there.
I'm not saying that it's the Husky that's a problem either, but I'm saying that Jacob's perspective of it could be that. Yes?
Yes.
So that's where I'm getting at with him is that he might have reservations about leaving something that for him he's comfortable with. He's had his entire pro career on Star, so it would be unfamiliar territory. And I feel like even with him in the past, the opportunity has been available for him to not stay at Star, and he's probably chosen to stay there for a different deal that was less appetizable, i.e. skipping 450 Supercross.
Is appetizable a word?
Appetizing. I.e.
Fair.
skipping moving up to 450 Supercross and staying 250 outdoors with them, dabbling a couple 450 rounds to try to go for a title that he didn't get.
Well, to be honest, my brain really fixated on appetizable there.
Okay, anyway.
Yeah, I think I stand by what I said. I think it just comes back to how bad do you want me? and I go whoever wants me, all being equal money, etc.
Yeah.
I do not believe that if you're Justin Cooper, you are put off by Christian Craig's experience at Husqvarna.
Okay.
Because at the end of the day, RJ is very vocal, I think, about the fact that the 450 is better than it looks on track. And I think if I'm Justin Cooper, which, to be clear, I'm not, I think I look at it as an opportunity to, if I can be the one to make that work, my value skyrockets. So I maybe bet on myself. If you're at Star, you're next to Webb and Tomac again, no matter how much they say they want you, it's going to be to a level you're not going to be that important. So, and he should be, because as we've said, he is a star of the future. He will be a race winner and a regular podium guy in 2026.
Right.
So I think I take the plunge, and I look at it as, rather than look at it as a detraction, I look at it as an opportunity to really boost my value and be the hero that I can't be.
So to quickly explain kind of the pickle he's in for people at home that might just be like, they ran 3 bikes this year, why can't they do 3 bikes again next year? As far as we're aware, Webb signed for not a lot of money year 1, dump truck of money year 2.
Yes.
Because Tomac was presumed to be gone year 2.
Yes.
So then Webb would be the star rider. And so Tomac... Huh? So Tomac is probably coming back for 2025 Supercross. And as you have put with him a few times already this year, does it end after that? Question mark? Maybe. So then Star has to continue, put the checkbook out again and sign another deal. Checkbook again, another deal. And obviously Tomac's not necessarily cheap. If he keeps coming back, he's not riding for like $5,000. He's going to ride for a good amount of money. And so Star can't just keep riding $1 million check after $1 million check. And then Cooper stock himself went up as well. You can't just keep doing 3 bikes with 3 riders that could be 1, 2, 6 in a championship, 1, 2, 5 or something like that. So it's tough.
Yeah, and I wouldn't even look at it from a money position, though. I just look at it as an opportunity to shine and make the most of an opportunity.
Yeah.
Not saying that he can't do that as Star, but I just think that you are always going to be overshadowed by your teammates, and understandably so.
Do you think, in speaking about that a little bit, it sounds a little bit like Dylan was out at Star because of they didn't really like his attitude and some of the things he was saying, and he didn't really like things that were going on there either. But do you think that that's part of it as well, where like Dylan was Eli's number 2, reasonably speaking, and especially in Supercross, and he probably got sick of that? And do you think J. Coop is also feeling the same bit of situation?
No, because J. Coop's really close with Coop. So I think that helps that you're more integrated into the team for that reason. And it has been his team for 7 years. At least I think he said 7 years. But at some point, as we've seen with Tomac even, at some point change is good. And I do believe that change would serve him well. And it would really bring him out of the shadows. Because think of Anaheim 1's press conference. It's kind of done by manufacture. It's done by A, the rider, but B, the manufacturer.
Yeah.
So J. Coop either won't be in it or he'll be deep on the back row. Whereas if he goes to Husky, he'll probably be front and center as the Husky guy.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's
if I'm
that's
his agent,
fair.
I'm pitching it like that.
Okay.
And to be clear, I'm not.
You're not. But if you were J. Coop, are you taking that deal then? Go to Husky. Go to other team specifically.
Yeah, I am.
Okay. I think I would say he would be better suited off trying to stay at Star. I think familiarity, comfort, even maybe a lesser money deal, he would ride better there. My personal opinion.
Take the leap.
All right, take the leap. All right, so that's our second moto topic here of the day. Let's get into our first fan topic. And this one comes from @Debo360X, also known as Denny Stevenson on Twitter. Denny's had some fun takes on Twitter of late. Got stabbed recently as well, so good to see he's doing better.
I feel like I don't see him on Twitter anymore.
Really?
Yeah, weird.
Dude, he has been. You should see some of the things he's been tweeting. So he wants to know, and this is a few weeks old, that we asked these guys to send us some non-moto ones, so we're digging back a little bit. But he'd like to know what's the biggest challenge or change for Lewis since he's moved to the U.S. full time.
I probably should have thought about this. challenge or change, work-wise, life-wise?
Ambiguous.
Well, we've gone over. I feel like I get misconstrued a lot. Is that a word, misconstrued? Is that
Yes.
correct? I think it's a word. I don't know if I've used it correctly.
Yeah, I think it's
Misinterpreted a lot. That's better.
I was trying to think of it in terms of your perspective, and it kind of works.
I think misinterpreted is better.
Yeah,
I think I get misinterpreted a lot.
Misunderstood.
Yeah, just because of, again, the tone, but people get angry. People get angry when I talk about that now, so I don't really mention it. But actually, someone did put it well on social the other day. I was going to find it, but I can't. They said, like, it was a British person, and they said, British people say something and to pause to get a reaction. It's just kind of, and I was like, you know what? And I never thought of it. And I was like, you know what? That is kind of the way that we all communicate. I say something outrageous, purely, completely, like, non-serious.
Yeah.
And just wait for a bite.
At heart, you're sarcastic, is basically what you're trying to say.
Yeah, but people don't like it when you say that. So I've really worked on that, and I think I have gotten better.
Okay.
Like, less people have said I hate you, so there must be some improvement in my delivery, which is a really sad bar that we're trying to hit.
There's going to be comments about this, and you just keep going back to it. You just have to be who you are. People.
Yeah, but I don't like me, so why should anyone else?
Oh my God, you got to where you are because of who you are. People like you, and as you say, you're the star of the show. Right?
I'm interested, so
your name's first on the docket.
I'm not. No, I'm not. Don't say that. I'm interested because I'm going to Namura in a couple of weeks, and I'm really interested to see if subconsciously I change when I walk into MXGP. Just the way.
Oh, I'm the man.
No. Just like, if I suddenly become more Lewis again.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I have changed, but I'm interested to see if, like, I suddenly feel much more like I can say what I want. And let's be honest, in GPs, I do just say what I want. Building a credit score, incredibly hard. I need to go to the bank this weekend, actually, and find out why the fuck I don't have a credit score yet.
Not at all.
Not at all. Not even on the radar. Don't know.
Even though you've been paying rent for like 6 months,
and I've been buying stuff on credit card, paying it off purely with the mind of like this. Like I was in a
but that's just like a couple ticks. Well, you should still have a credit card or a credit score, but yeah.
But like I filled up with gas yesterday, and I went to pay for it on my debit card, and I was like, no, credit score, but it's just not working. So that's winding me up. That's actually getting bang on my nut because I don't understand it, and I don't like it when I don't understand it. I'm getting there slowly with relationships in the paddock, slowly.
Okay.
Not on MXGP level.
I thought you were talking about dating life.
No, that's
relationships.
It's fucked. But understandably so. Look at me.
Can I ask you just real quickly about that?
No.
I just want to ask you one question. Can I ask you one question about that? Do you actually like American women? Like enjoy?
I matched with a girl. Well, I didn't match with her. A girl liked me earlier called Ping. I asked her to introduce me to Pong.
Oh, I thought this was going to be a David Pingree joke.
No, literally came up on my phone. Ping liked you.
Okay. But legitimately, like, you've dated British females, correct? So, in the experience you've had here, is it like, oh, it's the same, different?
It's no different.
Okay. Continue.
Yeah, it's no different.
This is great podcast.
No, I'm thinking because this podcast has fucked me over, Kellen.
Chill out.
Because now, I think in real life, I'm thinking about like whether I'm being misinterpreted in these situations in real life. Like,
oh my God.
I'm fully in my head 24/7 now because I don't know if I'm being interpreted the right way. So even when I'm talking to a normal American people, I'm like trying really hard to not leave any blurred lines. So there's that credit score, Ping. That wasn't ironically that was the name that was the sound my phone made as well. My phone went ping, and then I picked it up and there was ping, but no pong. Yeah.
You're just off the plot at this point.
Credit score.
Credit scores. Rating.
What was I saying after credit score?
What do you think about the food? Cooking here.
No, I'll tell you what.
Everything like that.
I'm not an athlete. I enjoy burgers and stuff like that. I am getting a bit tired now of going to a restaurant and it all being so heavy.
Yeah, you've said that a few times.
And like a loaf of bread here is so much heavier than a loaf of bread in England. Like I never thought that I would get to that point, and it's not bothering me, but it's on my mind, and I never thought it would even like cross my mind.
Do you cook like at all?
I'm getting there, Kellen.
Okay.
Made scrambled eggs.
Can you
this
make
morning.
like your own loaf of bread? Is what I'm asking.
I'm not making a loaf of bread. Do I live in the 1800s?
My wife makes bread all the time. What are
I
you
don't
talking
live
about?
in the 1800s, Kellen. I'm not making a loaf of bread.
Oh, okay, sorry for asking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Next, you're going to be asking if I go down to the lake with a bucket for my clean water.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like I'm just kind of like, I still feel like I've not started.
How's it been driving on the right side of the road all the time?
We've done that. I prefer that to the other side.
Yeah.
I still feel like it's not really started. I still feel like I've not got there yet, and I don't know what there is. But in me, I feel like I'm almost wasting the time. Like I feel like I've not really started this thing yet. Actually, that's what I was saying. It's the relationships in the paddock. That was a garble of words. Relationships in a paddock. It's not on MXGP level, obviously, but this time last year it was really bothering me because I didn't know anyone, and I didn't know how to like fix that. But I feel like now I've got some good relationships. Feel like I'm there. I'm at a good I'm at a good enough level. Like I used this as an example to someone yesterday. Now, it's rare that someone tells me a rumor that I haven't already found out through my own sources.
Yeah,
Whereas this time last year, I had no sources.
Honestly, I feel the same way. So I totally get where you're coming from.
Yeah, like whereas now, like there was a like for instance at Denver, Steve was like, "I've got a scoop,"
and you're like, "I bet I know too."
Yeah, and he was like, "Someone's going back to their old team," and I was like, "So and so."
Yeah,
and he was like, "Oh," and I was like, in my head, I was like, "That's a step for me to already know that."
Yep.
So that makes me happy, although that's not really quantifiable in work. Should we get Ping on the podcast next week? With Pong?
No, I think we're good.
Am I the dick?
Yeah, right. We'll right into that.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I guess my overarching feeling is I feel like it's not started yet. And I don't know how to quantify that, and I don't know I can't tell you when I will feel as though it's started. But right now, I feel like I'm still in a bit of a holding pattern of getting going, personally, professionally, and everything.
A quick mini question off of this, not to do with racing dirt bikes or anything like that at all.
Ping?
Just living in the USA.
Pong?
What's been your favorite thing about it?
I don't know.
No? Don't have anything that you're like...
I mean, the weather's nice, but...
Okay. Well, California, that helps.
Do you want to know? I'll say something completely ridiculous.
Okay, hit me.
You don't get air miles in Europe. Really enjoy that.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Like, not at all? You can't
no, because when you fly around Europe, it's 1 hour flights. So you're just on like EasyJet, like budget little airlines.
Some airlines here, it's not necessarily miles. Sometimes it's based on a percentage of the dollar value.
Okay, there's no
spend.
reward scheme.
Okay,
with
no
those
reward
airlines.
scheme at all. Okay.
I enjoy that. It gives me a bit of like it's like a fun little game. When I go to the races, I'm also playing that game, so I enjoy that very much.
Very cool, Lewis. I'm glad that you're having a great time here in the US.
Well, that's it. So, Lewis, why did you spend 36 grand on a visa? How's it going? Well, I'm enjoying the air miles.
Yep.
Fuck me. And I've got Ping and potentially Pong.
Stupid. Jesus. Okay, let's move on from this topic and go to the second half of our show. Big thanks to EVS Sports, experience pinnacle of knee protection and injury prevention with the EVS Web Eclipse knee brace. For over 39 years, EVS has relentlessly honed their engineering expertise, consistently delivering award-winning knee braces. This legacy of excellence is embedded in every facet of the new Web Eclipse, which represents the culmination of their tireless dedication to innovation and rider safety. Use code LVK30 to save 30% off today. All right, second half of the show coming up, Lewis, and we're going to jump right into Tom Vialle now and really get in.
Literally, or
yeah, we're gonna just bam, smash right into him. No, so he wins the 250 SX East title by 4 points over Hayden Deegan in the end. Looked a little bit rattled on Saturday, not his usual self. But actually, let me ask you this to start the topic real quick, and I will start the timer so we can begin. When Vialle had the first world title, he wrapped it up early, correct? Around early?
First one. That would have been 2020. I don't know. 2020 we had triple headers, so I can't remember which.
But at no point was he like, I got to be championship management mode. Was he?
I honestly can't remember.
The only reason I'm asking is, like, I guess we never really have seen him at this level. Like, he had to ride safe, and I don't think he's ever really done that, because to win the MX2 title in 22, full send, had to beat Yago straight up, and he was flying to do it. So I think that was maybe what put him in a bit of a weird situation.
He definitely had a big lead in 2020.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
I can't remember exactly when he locked it up, but it was without question that he was going to be champ. Yeah.
Anyway, so wins the title in his second year racing Supercross here, and if you asked Adam Wheeler before he came over here, yeah, he'll learn it real quick, no problem, we're good. So that, Adam Wheeler was right. And it was interesting, the first question they asked him in the press conference was, Dan Hubbard had apparently asked LeBig something about Tom, and LeBig said a French phrase that translated to first year learn, second year win, or something like that. And Tom was like, yeah, that's what we tried to do. So clearly he followed a plan. It worked. Are you surprised, though, that it happened this quickly, this well, to the point where we're already a year and a half in and he's a Supercross champion?
No, but I will tell you what I am surprised at. How weird is it when you look back, and this is kind of a tangent, how weird is it when you look back, the stigma is it's so hard for Europeans to learn Supercross. But Porcel never won a motocross title, but he won Supercross. Vialle got a Supercross title before a motocross title. Townley got a Supercross title, never an outdoor title.
I should have, though.
Help me out, there's more.
Roxon never won 250 outdoors. Won a 250 indoor title.
Relevant. You know what I mean? Weird. When you actually look at it, there's a better success rate of foreigners in Supercross rather than outdoors. I guess because half the competition. But still, it's weird.
It is
considering the
weird.
Stigma. And then it got me thinking, are we all underplaying that outdoor adjustment?
Well, I think what we're underplaying, and it at this point,
is this topic.
Well, it is this topic. At this point, I'm ready to just, every single time you have a European come over here, I'm just ready to use this sentence every single time. Good riders are good riders. Doesn't matter if they don't have Supercross experience like Tom Vialle. Doesn't matter if they look rough around the edges on a Supercross track like Jeffrey Hurlings did, for example. They will figure it out. There's a reason that they won a world championship or battled for a world championship in the past. Like if Kai de Wolf and Lucas Kunin come over next year, they're battling for a world title right now. They're winning races. I don't foresee them having that much of an issue figuring Supercross out. Jorge Prado comes over here. Did it look amazing the first year? No, but he only had 2 months to test on a Supercross track and raced a 450 on Supercross right away. No 250 time. He'll figure it out next year. I just am at the point where it doesn't matter the lack of experience. They're going to figure it out. They're world champions for a reason. Yeah,
a team, I think I might have even said this on this podcast, but a team asked me a couple of weeks ago about a European rider. And they said, but honestly, will they be okay in Supercross? And I came back with exactly that. Show me the last time a foreigner, saying that to include Australia as well, show me the last time a foreigner failed at Supercross. I think it was Tonus. And there were exterior factors there because he's qualified second at his first race.
Yeah, didn't he finish on the podium at the second or third round?
I don't know if he ever had I feel like he qualified second and then immediately got ill and injured and all of that good stuff.
And honestly, Tonus, in my opinion, is like the one guy that it probably should have worked for the most. He was like one of the most naturally gifted, technical type of guys.
Yeah, no one doubted that.
No one doubted that he would be good at Supercross.
Paul Ann came over for a couple of races, was fine, and that was without fully committing himself. There isn't, apart from Tonus, I can't recall a European that failed recently, even before Tonus.
The only one that I can it's not even fair, but Dean Ferris came over for Red Bull KTM and it was meh.
But you can ask Red Bull KTM now. They will tell you that was probably, they may have made the wrong call.
I'm just saying.
That was a reactionary decision based on the nations in 2013 that was maybe a bit too shotgun.
Sure, but I think that that's one that you could go back to and be like, okay, the Hail Mary picked him and it didn't work.
If I'm the opposing side to you, he wasn't really given the time that Vialle's been given to flourish.
He should have had more time.
Maybe it would have, if you set the bar at, you can only consider them a failure if they did 2 seasons. I can't, like, we've said this before, it never should have worked for Rattray. Never should have worked for Rattray. Doesn't have the style for it. He was old, so maybe harder to teach an old dog new tricks. Never should have worked, and it did.
Yeah, he was still good in Supercross, great
Podium
outdoors.
guy,
Yeah,
yeah. So it's weird. But back to Vialle, I would have had him as a favourite going into next year, probably. I don't believe any of us had him this year. I think I've been trying to remember. I feel like I might have given him a token 10% of the
Are we
title
back to token
buy.
gesture?
For clarity, I said the words token gesture about 47 times on
I
Saturday.
think you're underselling how many times you said it this weekend.
I think I randomly a word comes in my mind and then it best describes everything I talk about. No, good for Vialle though, because I do feel like we all kind of underestimated him, especially he was so good in SMX.
He was
Good.
He was.
And I think he's going to walk to this outdoor
But
title.
I think that he was so good in SMX and everyone was like, wait till Whoops are here. And yes, it was only 9 this year, but he blitzed Whoops perfectly fine most of the time.
Remember our topic about how I gave Vialle's success a lot of credit of that to Chase? I put that to Chase.
I heard.
And
I listened to your stuff.
Yeah. And he was immediately like, yep.
No, he wasn't immediately. He was like, he said, he said, he was like, Tom's a good rider. And then you were like, yeah, but you really, and he's like, yeah, you're right. Yeah. So,
but I can liken that from my own experience. Like, it is weird when, like, and I think Vialle even said it on Pulp, like, it's weird, like, until you start meeting people and stuff, it is weird. And someone actually rung me, this kind of goes back to the non-moto now, but someone from GP's rung me yesterday. And they said, I'm watching you closely because I'm watching you closely because I know how much you depended on the relationships in GPs, and I'm trying to track how you're doing with relationships because I'm worried about you. Like I feel like you will struggle if you don't get those relationships quickly. And it kind of made me think of Vialle last year. I honestly believe that was a part of his struggle.
Does their name rhyme with Madam Schmueller?
No.
Oh, okay.
He's not really from the MXGP paddock anymore.
I mean, but he is in our sport.
No, he's from the MotoGP paddock.
Okay, but in our sport, you can't say, oh, he's US based, so he's MXGP.
It's good for us to have a MotoGP contact.
I wanted this to be a two-parter, so I'll just quickly ask you this because I texted you yesterday and I wanted to know your thoughts about it. Vialle, if he didn't come here, would have been forced to move up to a 450 over there. So he would add a rookie 450 season in 2023 in MXGP, and then would be in year 2 right now amidst this crazy title battle that's going on. Geyser and Prado are so close in points. Hurlings is getting back to form. Fevers look good. Vialle would be where in this fight?
3 to 6.
Would he win races?
Not until people get injured.
Okay. Even though he would be like Prado, hole shotting a lot?
No. 3rd to 5th.
Okay.
Probably the best of the rest behind the big 4. I mean, we're 6 rounds in. Guys are Hurlings and Fevra haven't won a race yet.
It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, like when you think about it, they must be losing their minds. Like if you told any of them, maybe not Fevra, but if you told any of them before the season you're going to go 6 rounds in without winning a race, I think they would have been like, no.
Okay. So yeah, but do you think that Vialle, like we keep talking about, who's the next superstar in MXGP? If Vialle had stayed there, all those older guys are going to retire soon. Prado's coming here. If Vialle never comes, would he be the superstar? Yeah. Right. But he would be a bit ahead of Yago. Ahead
Wait,
of
did you say
Maxime.
if Prado never comes?
I said if Vialle never comes here.
If Vialle never comes, right?
Because obviously Prado's about to come. So then it would clear the void for Vialle to be the guy over there. If, like, in hindsight, if you ask Vialle this, like saying, hey, you came here, you wanted to do Supercross, but you had guaranteed success in Europe awaiting you, does that change his perspective on it?
Well, I can tell you this. I said to him earlier this year, like in off-record conversation, do you miss GPs at all? And I could barely finish the sentence. And he was like, no. But to my previous point, I think last year he would have said yes for the exterior factors.
Yeah, but now he has friends.
Chase.
Chase
equals solution.
We talked about this before because we said, look at how quickly Kenny adapted to the US and Marvin took a little bit. Because Kenny was just like, hey, Andrew Short, hey, Ryan Villapoto, look, we're all buddies and friends. And Marvin was like, yeah, Mathilde. You know, so like I think these guys have to come here and adapt quick. That's probably a bigger catalyst. People always say these guys got to learn Supercross. They got to learn Supercross. You need to find someone that's in your corner.
Yep.
Very quick. That's what helps you here.
This is, I do actually really like, I had this conversation with someone yesterday as well. A lot of conversations. I really do like pride myself now. I really do understand what those riders have to go through. I feel more like, maybe not fully, but like 95% of the way there. And I feel like I didn't give it enough credit before. So now I really value the fact that I understand it more.
Yeah. No, they coming from over there to here is a much bigger hurdle than people realize, and it in no way has to do with learning Supercross, in my opinion. Like, yes, that's a problem for them that they have to figure out. There's a way different way of living over here, and it helps to have someone in your corner.
Yeah, and you're just exiled, essentially.
Yeah, so
banished.
Yeah,
you're basically banished.
The UK government is just like, don't come back.
Yeah, you're banished.
Yeah. All right. So, but good for Vialle. Congratulations on winning the title.
Yeah, good for him. And
well,
good
you don't
for
have
KTM.
to say it that way. It's just like,
and good for KTM. They needed it.
They did. As they did with Hampshire too.
Yeah, everyone needed it.
As I alluded to, I think last week, Hampshire is the first Austrian rider to win a 250 Supercross title. That take Jason Anderson out of this when he rode for Rockstar KTM, because it was not the factory effort at the time. The first Austrian factory teamed rider that doesn't have MXGP experience, like long-term in Europe to some degree.
Wait, the first
that won a title. Osborne raced MXGP for 5 years.
Okay.
Muscan, Roxon, now Vialle.
250s, obviously.
That's what I'm talking about, not 450s.
Okay.
Just take away Cooper Webb and all this stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Wow, right.
Wow.
I pitched that to Roger. You can read about it on MotoOnline.com.
Actually, yeah, you did, didn't you?
I did.
Yeah. Just weird, it doesn't really click now because it's actually like fact.
But Daniel Blair says the amateur program is fixed.
No, he said corrected course.
Corrected course, yeah. But yeah, Cole Davies also winning the Futures program. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him. And good for Josh Cobbins.
Good for Josh Cobbins.
And good for Ben Townley.
Great for Ben Townley.
Hashtag please like me.
Let's go New Zealand. All right, let's get into our final moto topic of the day. We kind of brought this up a little bit 2 shows ago, I think, where we were talking about Max Anstey, his prospects of...
Oh, blood, we're still... Jesus, I thought we'd done all our moto.
No.
How long are we going for?
We're a little bit longer.
Okay.
We're talking about Max Anstey. We're talking about his prospects, if he had stayed in the U.S., how things would have turned out for him. And then in that conversation, we got to Tommy Searle leaving and not staying, and probably had deals he could have stayed and done well with. So let's bring up the British portion of our podcast. We're back talking about British motocross races and what they could have done. So Lewis, what do you have to say about Tommy Searle?
No, the debate here is this. In the press box on Saturday, I said that people forget Tommy Searle is very underrated because people forget he could beat anyone on his day. Caroli, Rattray, Hurlings, Roxon, and then I threw in Tomac and Porcel, which I lost everyone at that point. But the fact stands, that happened on one day.
He did not beat them, though.
He was second in the first moto. I can't remember who was behind him and who was ahead.
Well, Tomac went 1-1.
No.
In his first ever race? Yeah.
He didn't go 1-1.
Didn't he? Am I misremembering?
I'm pretty sure Porcel won the first moto. And I think Tommy went 2 DNF.
Okay. Continue, though, with your rant
Hangtown
about Tommy.
2010. I'm quite excited about this. So my bet is Tomac went 3-1.
Oh, you're right, 3-1.
Tommy went 2 DNF.
Yep.
So who was third in the first moto?
Porcel won. Tomac went 3-1.
So who was third in the second moto? Porcel.
Yeah, Porcel went 1-3. Who got second the second moto? Kennard.
No.
So
what did Kennard do first moto?
7.
Oh. So yeah, my point being, like, and Tommy was fully in. I think actually that second moto was when Tommy injured his shoulder. He actually listened to this podcast to begin with. Probably not stuck around. Sad. But yeah, no, like, people forget, and I feel like although you all scoffed at me, I
was
like,
not one of the scoffers.
I feel there was a lot of scoffing when I said Tomac and Porcel.
Yeah, because you said that, I think, when Andrew Short and maybe Weege was still there. Like, there was a bunch of other people. Brayton was there, and so when you say Searle beat Tomac and Porcel, they were like, did he?
Could beat anyone on his day.
Yeah.
And I think this Hangtown result proves it. He was in that mix, and if he hadn't injured I'm pretty sure he injured his shoulder in the second moto. If that hadn't happened, he would have won the overall that day.
My point that I made 2 weeks ago still stands. He is the one rider that, to me, made the most sense, like European-wise, to stay here.
Why?
Because he fit like the American vibe to a T, in my opinion. He was like a surfer-looking dude, flippy curled hair, whatever he had.
I didn't realize we were judging this off of people's hair.
And like, if you watch videos of them back then, he was like Dean Wilson before Dino was Dean. He was like hilarious and personable.
Tommy
and got around.
I don't know if he was that far back then.
Yeah.
He'll tell you he was kind of a dick.
Well, at least public facing, he was like that. Go watch like the old Ally
Tommy
Sports
walked
shows.
So
and stuff
Dean
like
could run.
that. Sure.
Essentially.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, this was my point, and I just wasn't happy that it got scoffed at.
Well, I didn't scoff because
But there was a lot of scoffing.
I don't agree with you that on his day he beat Tomac necessarily.
No, but I said on his day he could beat anyone.
Yes.
And I guess I'm saying 250 wise. But still, that counts, I feel like.
So you never got to the bottom of really why he left, though. It was just the CLS deal. He thought he would come back.
No, we did this. The CLS deal was... He was meant to do
PC
Supercross
thing,
for
yeah.
Pro Circuit, then got injured, and then just kind of got stuck.
I feel like if he really wanted to, after he was aged out, which is 12, right?
Yep.
He could have come here.
No, has anyone ever come, left, come again?
Yeah.
Who?
Zach Osborne.
That does not count. And also, he never came, left, and came again. He
here, left, came
yeah.
back, yeah.
No one's ever done that. That's insane. But I don't think there's ever... I do not believe there is any way that any rider in the history of the world would ever be able to do that.
I thought Porcel raced 250 West in 07, then went back to GPs.
He raced for first 3 rounds. Similar to Paul Ann in 2010. Similar to Anstey. Similar to Osborne.
Roxon did it too.
Similar to Roxon. Roxon was more serious.
Right.
He did the whole series except for 1 round, I think, that clashed. Correct?
No, I think he did the whole thing. Because
he finished second at the Seattle.
He missed Seattle. Okay, so I'll do this.
Yes.
But anyway, no, I think he definitely had the ability to come back if he wanted to. He could have made the calls and all this
I
stuff.
don't think so. Hold on.
Really?
I'm going to message him.
You're going to message him right now and be like, so
Yep.
I'm going to try to figure out
Yep,
if Roxon
everyone
missed a
just-
race. Did you
We're
pause
taking
the show?
We're taking a break.
I really do. Like, I think that, again, I wasn't a journalist, pounding the pavement in the paddock at that point in time. But the perception on the outside was like, what happened to Tommy Searle? Why isn't he here anymore? What the heck? Like, he should come back. He's really good. He was a front runner in the 250 class here.
Right. So hello. Right. So hello. Question. Doing a pod and talking
I also have another
about
I
you,
have another person who was here, left, and guess they're back again.
Anstey.
Yeah.
That doesn't count because I would say he was here.
Yeah.
Like he was
and left.
He was basically American.
Tommy was too. You can't say
No, Max was basically American as in he came through the amateur system. He did not race a GP. Also, hold on, let me send this text because otherwise we're never going to get an answer.
Okay.
But 2011 you're looking for, but
no, I'm looking at Tommy's results in 09. To me, he's here. Give me a break. And then he did 2 rounds. He was here.
You know what? I'm not even going to ask him because that's a stupid question.
He was here for 2 whole years.
Yeah.
He's here, left. He could have come back.
How does him being here for 2 years have anything to do with that?
Because he was here, had results that people could look back on that year. 2010, his last race in 2010, his last 2 races, he went 9-8. If you're a 250 team manager and you're like, oh, this guy who was hurt most of the year, he came back and just was 9-8.
Wait, what race was that?
2010 Spring Creek and 2010 Washougal.
Do the 2011 Supercross standings.
Okay, talk about Tommy.
No, yeah, I just feel like genuinely, obviously his 450 career didn't go as planned, so I feel like that makes people forget just how good he was. And like, even I remember, you can't hide from this. When I said Caroli, you scoffed. You did scoff at the Caroli, but 2008, Rattray, Tommy, Caroli, it was a toss-up every week over who was going to win and who was going to take the title. There was no Caroli's got this. In fact, I would argue, actually I guess you can't argue that. 2008 may have been the most on the ropes but then he obviously lost titles against Hurlings and whatnot. So I guess you can't say that. But 2008 was certainly one of the most on the ropes that Crowley's been in his career, when he was also firing on all cylinders. Just go to the AMA Supercross archives, Kellen.
I'm just looking here, okay?
But you're not going to see the races he missed.
All right, fine. I'll do what you want, Lewis. We'll do it live.
2011.
We'll do it your way. 2011.
Final round.
Las Vegas.
Season's points.
West.
Ken Roxon.
That's 450s.
Oh my... Come on, Kellen. The people are live. I'm saying Ken Roxon missed Seattle.
What the heck? Ken Roxon missed... Yes, Seattle. You're right.
Honestly, what a pull. I have no idea why I remember, even down to the race. That was kind of a guess on the race. I just knew it was second half of the year. But yeah, that's wild that he was going back and forth from GPs.
Oh, he did win the showdown. I don't know.
No, he didn't win the showdown. He won the heat, which was a main.
Right. Yeah. The 10-minute West main.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird that he was doing that.
Yeah. So what... That was...
He was going back and forth because at that time...
4 rounds into GPs when he won that Supercross?
Sure.
Something like that?
Yeah. And at that time, I remember Giuseppe Luongo doing a statement or a press conference that said their intention was to make MXGP start after Supercross so people could... So that we won't lose Roxon. He can go and race Supercross, then come back and do MXGP. Obviously, it never got off the ground. Why the hell would they start MXGP in the middle of May?
I don't know.
But I remember reading this for sure, that this was an intention or an idea. Weird.
I still remember, and I've talked to this with some other journalists in this industry.
Oh, you have other journalist friends?
Yeah. I remember when Roxon came here, I remember reading, it was probably an MXA headline or something like that said, to the effect of AMA... re-changes their age rule. Welcome to the USA, Ken Roxon, or something like that. Because right before that, they had made it, I think, mandatory. You had to be 18 years old, or something to do with like earned your Supercross points to race Supercross.
Right.
And Roxon was 16 at the time that he made his Supercross debut.
He was really the Wunder Kid. Wunderbar.
Kid. So anyway, we went all the way around to Tommy Sturl, Ken Roxon.
But this is why I like these topics more, because it's just chatting, really. It's like, I feel like this is just like pub talk.
Pub talk?
Yeah. This is better. This is a better podcast, I do believe.
Let me ask you this before we move off Tommy and go to our non-moto. If Tommy did stay, does he have the career that we had laid out for Anstie? Like, becomes a 250 title guy, then moves up to a 450, gets on a factory bike, maybe wins 450 Supercrosses.
Sure.
Okay.
Let me ask you this. Okay, you can either answer this or push it to next week. Although maybe we've done enough Tommy talk. When it's all said and done, Tommy Searle versus Max Anstie. Who would you say had the better career? Tommy was second in the MX2 World Championship 4 times. No, second 3 times, third once. Won 14 GPs. I believe he has the most MX2 GP wins without having a title. AMA motocross podiums, etc., etc. Max, more 450 GP podiums. Won, I want to say 6 MX2 GPs, so 8 less. Supercross main event winner, which I feel is a big tick in his column. Yeah, like I say, I think he had 6 450 podiums as well. Tommy had 0, although he got screwed in Finland in 2013. What other key Max point is there?
Do you want me to answer?
He won MX2 GPs as well. Sure.
Yeah. If you chop their career this second, you can tell me to answer this right now. Like Max Anstie's career just ended at Salt Lake City, I would say Tommy. But I think that if Anstie goes to Star and wins a 250 title, I would say Max.
For some reason, Tommy just has like the aura of a superstar, whereas I feel like Max doesn't have that yet.
I just think Tommy, like,
Are you basing this off of vlog subscribers?
No, I think Tommy, I look at more as like he had the potential to be a multi-time, probably MXGP world champion, and it didn't pan out.
Yeah.
I don't know that I would say the exact same thing about Anstey.
Yeah, like, you go Coppins, you go DeSalle, you go Paulin. Tommy belongs in that group of like, he should have been a world champion.
Yeah.
Okay, not on a 450 maybe, but on a 250 he.
But I mean, the problem is that when he moved up to a 450, he just got hurt all the time.
Yeah, but and also I strongly believe it was a wrong team choice.
Probably
wrong
a
team
little bit
choice.
that, but just was hurt all the time too. Just
Shouldn't have
injury
stayed
after injury.
Bring it full circle. This is the beauty of LVK because no one can do this. Going to bring it right back around. I strongly believe the reason his 450 career didn't pan out as expected, he chose to stay comfortable and stay at CLS. Take note, Justin Cooper.
Okay. We have gone full circle on our moto topics.
We are the
today.
only podcast that can go from Justin Cooper in 2024
to Tommy
Searle in 2008, then to 2012,
that was the
13,
CLS deal, yeah.
and back to 20.
Yeah.
We are the only. That is our USP.
Yeah, we're drawing circles at this point. All right, let's get into our last topic of the day. We're already over an hour, but we have to get into this because it's everyone's favorite
And
segment.
another fan question.
Another fan question. Everyone's favorite segment on LVK.
Remember, they have asked to stay anonymous.
I don't have their name anyway. What do you want me to say?
Okay.
Am I a dick? Says this anonymous person. And this is our last topic. Let me get the timer going.
Wait, can I do my mini one first?
Okay, mini one, quick.
Another press box topic. So on the MXGP podcast last week, big Lagenfelder guy, I said similar to Toy Story. Lagenfelder was Woody. And then I've got Buzz Lightyear, and he can fly and shoot lasers, and he's a much cooler toy than Woody. So Lagenfelder's out, and Liam Everts is my Buzz Lightyear. And someone, I believe Steve, went, and you wonder why people don't like you.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
funny.
It is funny, but you literally just said, "Oh, I'm playing with this better toy now. It's got cool lasers and gadgets and all this stuff." You're basically saying, Simon Langenfelder, you suck. You're old material.
No, because the arc of Toy Story is Woody came back around.
He did come back around. So yeah.
So for now, I've got my Buzz Lightyear.
But the image you put in everyone's head is that scene from Toy Story where they drop Woody on the ground.
Did you see the tweet?
Yeah,
I laughed so hard.
Drop Woody on the ground because we're sick of playing with Woody. Buzz Lightyear is great. Everyone loves Buzz Lightyear. So even in Toy Story, they make it emotional that Woody's like, oh, someone else likes me more. You know, they like someone else more than me. So
am I a dick?
I don't think I would have said it. That's all I'm saying.
Really? Yeah. What about when I said Lucas Coonan is Mr. Potato Head because he can fall apart at any moment?
Again, if you're tight with Lucas, you can say that.
I've never spoken to him.
If you're not, I can see why they'd be pissed.
Fuck. Okay, what about, there was also a conversation, Wheezy the Penguin, on the shelf, forgotten about. I said that's a Darmo. Am I a dick?
Well, that one's a little bit more, I think you could get away with it because that's like...
Not personal.
It's not like Wheezy being on the shelf. The Toy Story banter of the podcast at this point. Wheezy being on the shelf is not that they don't want to play with him. They just simply forgot he's there.
Fair.
So you might be interested in enjoying a bit of Andre Adamo, but you just are.
You remember the part of Toy Story where it's like the strange things are happening to me song? That is Simon as he sees me take down my Simon poster and put up a Buzz Lightyear poster. And like, you know what, like, juice, like he's just pushed off the bed.
Noise? Juice.
He's pushed off the bed and he falls down because Buzz Lightyear's now got Liam Everts with my buttons and stuff. Am I the dick?
I wouldn't have said it probably, but I get where you're coming from.
Fuck.
It is funny though. It is funny.
I will say that in the moment, I did not doubt it at all. It was not until Steve said, "You'll wonder why people don't like you," that I considered that maybe that could have. But in my eyes, I believe that everyone would laugh at that and see the funny side.
Imagine this. Let me just pitch a hypothetical to you about this situation. Imagine if a sponsor of a show that you were on liked you, loved you, you were great, blah, 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 blah. Wait, Steve wants a new sponsor on a show. Let's go with Steve anyway. Lewis, sorry, old news, toy that we're dropping on the ground. Look at all the shiny gadgets and gizmos that Steve has over here. You would not.
I would say I don't appreciate the decision, but I full props for the analogy. That's really funny.
You'd be annoyed. Okay, final topic. Am I a dick? This is anonymous. When I see an organization outside of a store, a grocery store, or whatever, collecting donations, I say, I'll get you on the way out. Then I go out the other door and act like I'm on the phone. Am I a dick?
No, that's just normal life.
Just normal life.
Yeah. I had a situation once. Santa Monica, when I was much younger, came out of a store and a man said, make a donation for charity. And my go-to is, I don't have any cash, sorry. Well, this man, the elevated professional that he is, went, that's okay. There's an ATM around the corner. Let's go. And I was like, sure.
So you got dragged in?
So I used the walk to the ATM to, because he was trying to show me like the children, look at the children.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, great. Oh, yeah. So I was using the walk to try and plan my attack. Got to the ATM. Told him to not look at my PIN because he was still close. I went, oh, can I have some privacy? He went, sure, mate. Turned his back. I walked off. But similar situation where, props to that man for being a forward thinker. Did not believe that these people with their buckets had the know-how to take you to an ATM.
Yeah. I'll just get out in front of it and say I'm not one of those people that donates to those groups. Unless Girl Scout cookies, they're selling Girl Scout cookies. Like it's a return transaction at that point. So you're giving money to them, they are giving you something back. And it's not that I don't think in charitable actions or whatever along those lines, but it's just like there are a lot of those. So is every single one of these going to make me feel bad that I didn't donate $1? Like it's the same thing when you go to McDonald's and they're like, would you like to donate $1 to the Ronald McDonald House? And you're like, I just want a cheeseburger today. Like I'll donate to something if I feel that it's a reasonable cause that I want to, but I'm not going to do it every single time in my life.
It's the wrong way of thinking because if everyone felt this way, then no one would do it. But I just think to myself, if I give you $1, it's going to make fuck all difference.
Mm.
Like this man with his book showing me all of his children, like, oh, that one, oh, I'll have that one, yeah. Like my dollar's not going to do much for them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this kid's dealing with this. Like, okay, well, I've got $1.
And the thing about why am I a dick? It's you're not a dick in this situation. One of my first jobs I ever had was I was a door-to-door. I passed out flyers for a landscaping company, right? This was when I was like 17 or something like that. And I would just go door to door and be like, hey, landscape company.
Would you knock or just...
whatever. I would not knock, but if there were people outside in the driveway, whatever, I would go up to them and be like, here's our deals, whatever, blah, 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 right? So I'd give a pitch. And most people hate solicitors. They don't like people coming to their door and stuff like that. So I get it. And when I go up to someone and I say, hey, can I tell you about this company? And they say no, I'm good. Like if that person comes up to me and I'm walking into a store and they go, would you like to donate today? And I say no, that person should be like, I'm good. Like that is how life works. Yes or no, move on.
Have you ever donated anything ever?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, same.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I have. Yeah, sure. Yeah.
I've also done volunteer work too. So I've been on these, I've been
What
on
did you do?
all
Go and build houses or something?
I used to, my mom was a part of a group called Mothers Against Drunk Driving. And so
That's a group.
Yeah.
Moving
This is way off topic, but my mom's first husband was killed by a drunk driver.
Okay.
So yes, she joined that group and I would help her out with events and stuff like that. And we'd put ribbons up and stuff. And then, when I was a Padres season ticket holder, I used to volunteer all the time with them. We'd go to fields, we'd set up baseball fields for people and stuff like that, do things like that. So yes, I have volunteered.
Wait, what were you doing for the baseball?
So when I was a Padres season ticket holder,
yeah,
and they would tell us about these volunteer opportunities they have throughout the community, picking up trash at the beach.
So how is that linked to baseball?
Because the Padres are an organization that is supposed to be like community centered because they're the only sports team in San Diego. So they pull people in by being like, look, we're giving back to the community all the time. And so they say, hey, season ticket holders, to maybe sometimes incentivize you, like, hey, we'll offer you better tickets if you come help pick up trash.
So you did it purely for the better tickets?
No. We did it just because we had free time and stuff.
Oh.
So what did you do that was charitable?
That's not fair, Kellen. Why would you do that?
What?
I've never done volunteer work.
I mean, mine's not even that good.
Well, yeah, better than mine. Now I look like a dick.
What have you donated to?
Just round up and stuff.
Yeah.
Pot, little charity pot.
Little pot.
Yeah. like put your change in it and whatever. I don't do it for the applause.
No, I don't either. And actually, I left one off that I've done before that's way more charitable than this, but I won't bring it up.
Oh well, yeah. Well, I left one off as well.
Yeah,
I saved the whales once.
Save the whales.
Yep. Swam out there. There was one drowning. Got it on my shoulder. Swam it back to shore. Gave it CPR. Lived.
Anyway, so back to this question about am I a dick? With the donation people outside of these stores, the plate and stuff like that, it should just be yes or no. Yes, like you should not feel bad for saying no. And they shouldn't make you feel bad for saying no. I think it's stupid when they, what about the children? What about the dogs or whatever? Like, yeah, mate, I get it. Like, sorry, but not today. You know.
I enjoy a pushy one though.
Really?
Entertaining.
Entertaining.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit of a challenge to get away. So then I'm like, right, I better think on my feet here.
But we agree that this person's not a dick.
No, they're not a dick.
Like,
and we also agree that I'm not a dick.
No, you are not a dick, Lewis. You're fine.
I don't know, you seem to feel quite strongly about
what?
The Buzz Lightyear issue.
It wasn't about you as a personal attack. It was simply something I wouldn't say.
Well, this is why this isn't a career for me. Because everything's on record, and that doesn't bode well for me.
Yeah, everything is on record. It is a tough part that we have to deal with sometimes, is that not every single thing we say is a hard opinion of ours. Like, we might say, I think Justin Cooper would win a Supercross one day. Doesn't necessarily mean that, like, if he doesn't, we think he sucks, kind of thing.
Yeah, and like when you pick a rider for the title, and another rider wins a title, it's like, well, yeah, I can see that also. Yeah. Like, I'm splitting hairs, like really.
The same thing about, and you know, this is way off topic at this point, but the same thing about people saying, oh, Racer X left Cooper Webb off the first preview show, and they even brought it up in the press conference, like Weege and JT did. It's like, yeah, man, like, look, sometimes it just scheduling wise, it doesn't work out to talk about that. You know, like they talked about 3 other guys.
You need a hook for your second episode.
It's a hook for the second episode, exactly. So just because we don't say this rider is great every week doesn't mean we hate them. Just means that we'll talk about them at a later date.
It's also a compliment to Racer X that the riders pay attention to that.
No, it is. But I'm just saying, like,
because I feel like if
you read into stuff too much.
If we did a preview show and left someone off of the first episode, no one would care.
Don't you feel a lot though that people, if you have a personal opinion, not a personal, if you have an opinion about someone in this sport, they always think it's personal.
Yes.
That's so stupid.
Yes.
Like, public service announcement. I don't actually hate any rider, you know,
well, but I hate them all.
I may say something that people would perceive as me strongly disliking them or whatever, and it's not the case at all. It's just trying to have an opinion about it, right?
Yeah.
And that's what's annoying. And
like
the same
you
thing
in the press box constantly poking me about Malcolm.
But we're doing that for fun.
Well, every joke has a hint of truth.
Well, okay, so you think that legitimately I walk around the pits and I go, you know who doesn't like Malcolm Stewart?
Yes.
No, I don't do that.
You're out to get me, and it really upsets me.
Actually. And I know you like Malcolm because you interviewed him right after me in Nashville.
But that's wrong. That's also wrong because I don't interview riders based on who I like. Even if I didn't like him,
but I'm saying the opposite would be is if you genuinely didn't like someone, you would not interview them probably.
That's true.
Right?
Yep.
There you go. So
time.
Lewis is done with the podcast. No, I thought this was a good deep dive. We keep going longer and longer on every show.
I think for the first time in a while, and you can testify to the fact that this is true. This is the first time in a while I'm concerned about this podcast.
Oh, really? What did you say that you didn't like this time?
Quite a few things.
Oh, okay. Well, post-podcast debrief will be fun. We'll be, you can catch us on Periscope.
Also, I just realised I brought water, and I haven't had a sip. I'm quite dehydrated.
Well, now you can sip it. Well, you're sipping it right now. But anyway, shout out to EVS Sports, Namura, Race Tech for always backing the show. We appreciate you guys and the support that you give us every single week. 17 rounds of Supercross done, 17 podcasts with LVK done. We're halfway there, Lewis. We're halfway through the season.
Have we done 17?
This is 17 right now.
We didn't do like a off weekend or
you
before A1?
You chose every off week that we shouldn't do one. So
well, I wouldn't have done one today if I had my way.
But anyway, shout out to all the sponsors, everybody that listens every single week. We'll be back. We are going to do a podcast next week. I know you don't want to, but we will. Because we want to preview motocross. We want to go over some things. And I could tell by your reaction. The eyes twitching, the eyebrows are flinching. You're not excited. So
Yeah, it'll be good.
all right, it'll be good. We'll preview motocross next week. That's been the 17th episode of EVS Sports presents the LVK More Than Moto podcast. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next week to preview Pro Motocross.